Welcome to the Woodpreneur podcast, the number one podcast for the business and marketing side of the lumber, woodworking, hardwood flooring, and sawmill industry. I'm your host, Steve from Acres of Timber. Each week, we feature various wood business owners and entrepreneurs from around the globe. We share their stories, paths, insights so that you can network, learn, and grow your own wood business. Thank you so much for listening. Now enjoy the episode. The Woodpreneur podcast is proudly sponsored by Acres CRM. Acres CRM is the wood industry's only customer relationship management software dedicated to helping you automate your sales and marketing so that you can focus on serving your customers and growing your business. You can visit acresoftimber.com to learn more and to schedule a demo. Once again, that's acresoftimber.com. Hey, welcome back to a brand new episode of the Woodpreneur podcast. This is your host, Steve, and today's guest is Bo from Woodward Throwbacks. How you doing, Bo?
Hey, how's it going? Happy to be here.
Good. So before we hopped on, I told you I found out about you like officially, because my wife follows you. And we ended up coming to your store when you had like a big sale, and we scooped up a whole bunch of stuff that are littered around our house. And so, and ever since like I kind of discovered you and your vibe, I was like, oh, I really love your content. And so I'm excited to have you on the podcast. Why don't you tell everybody about just the origin story of you and Woodward Throwbacks? Like, tell us, what was the spider that bit you that gave you magical powers?
So Woodward Throwbacks is a sustainable design studio that focuses on designing buildings, furniture. As now we're designing spaces using primary reclaimed materials. I want to say we started in 2014, kind of organically in a way where, we're in Detroit. There's a lot of illegal dumping, let's say in 2014, and it's pretty much material that's discarded on the street. And so just being out of college, being on a budget, we are gathering those materials while we're biking around the city and making furniture for ourselves. Fast forward a couple of years, we started selling that furniture, to friends and family, selling at the local farmers market. And then we got our big break when we started selling for Nordstrom. So we got into a couple like big box companies. Yeah. Then our business kind of started to evolve, or instead of doing smaller home decor, we started doing larger scale furniture. And now we're actually in our 24,000 square foot old Dodge dealership, which is our workshop, our warehouse, and our showroom. And I think the itch was kind of just, one, trying to clean up our neighborhood, but two, just balling on a budget and wanting to make really cool things for our house.
And your space is so cool. Like I saw the car ramp in the back. I was like, you legit have like you kind of like, I don't know, has like the city of Detroit ever like reached out to you to be part of like a campaign or anything?
No, so we're actually in Hamtramck. So Hamtramck is a small city. It's like 2 square miles. Within the city of Detroit, but no, they haven't, but they should.
They should. That's what I'm saying. Because I see what you've done. I mean, you salvage from all over Detroit, right? Like,
oh yeah.
How far out do you go? Do you go out to like?
It really depends. We're really big bikers. So on the weekend, we love just getting on our bikes and just like going. Detroit, don't quote me, is 147 square miles. It's huge. You can literally be driving for like an hour and a half and still be in the city limits, which is wild. But we mainly get our materials from just being part of the community. So it's like demo contractors, homeowners, like, hey, I just bought a house on the east side. I have all these doors or all this lumber in my garage. I want to get rid of it. But it's also just being a little creepy and just being like, all right, something's going on.
What's inside here?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The only reason why I say that, I was like, because part of like the whole woodpreneur sort of lifestyle is like mindset, branding, community, sales, right? So like the reason why I asked about city of Detroit, and I was like, like you have such a strong brand, right? Like I was there and I remember visiting and I was like, I was like, you kind of make me like want to like, you make Detroit appealing. You know what I mean? And like you're the, and if you see the way you kind of interact with your community and space, like you built a community around yourself and you have this strong, where did that come from?
I mean, I think the one thing when it comes to Detroit is even though it's a city, it feels like a small town because you'll go out to like the market or you go out to a party or a bar and you'll see like the same people. And so I think that's kind of one of those things where it just like organically, it's just like if you're really down for Detroit and like being a part of this hustle that a lot of people have, which is amazing to, be like in this like inner circle of just like, hustlers and entrepreneurs. Then like I said, it comes naturally.
It comes naturally. And so, and as a result, because you have the support of the community, then you feel more compelled to put yourself more out there because you know that you have the community behind you.
Oh yeah. And I think it's like, for instance, in the middle of the pandemic, or in the beginning of the pandemic, I started doing more like how-to videos almost of like, this is how I refinish, my pieces. Like if I like found something on the street, like hardware, this is how I refinish hardware. You have an old house that was built in 1920s that has hardware that's been painted 10 million times. This is how you revive it. And so I think it's one of those things where the city has such rich architecture that I want people to not be discouraged and being like, oh, well, I can't buy a house in Detroit because, it needs so much work. It's just like, no, like, you can do it. Let me show you how. So I think it's like kind of sense of, I'm going to help you, you help me, type situation. Hey.
So how long have you been in your space now?
So we have been in this building since 2017.
Okay. Wow.
It's wild because I want to say in 2017, I wouldn't say that business was booming or if we had really the staff, to be in such a large scale building, but it was just right place, the right time, the market, we saw that it was becoming a little hotter than usual. And we're like, I think we're so passionate about what we do that we knew that we can, one day grow into this space, which I feel like we're already there in a sense of like, we're kind of running out of like places to put things.
Did you buy it?
Yeah. So all of our buildings we own. I know it sounds wild, right? I mean, the Midwest. I feel
the Midwest.
The Midwest.
Midwest is like low key the best. Like I'm from New York, but I live in Chicago now. And
I'm from New York too.
Where part?
I grew up in the Bronx and then my parents moved to Jersey. Probably when I was in like elementary school. Okay. But they still work in New York. And so, yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And what brought you to Detroit?
So what funny story. I moved to Detroit in 2008 for college. I went to the local art school called College of Career Studies, and I majored in transportation design. Okay. Which is why moving to Detroit, the Motor City capital of the world, was just so fitting.
And was the plan to work at like GM or Ford or whatever?
Yeah, and I did. So I graduated. Yeah, I was an interior car designer for 5 years at General Motors.
What?
Yeah, I know my story is a little wild. I loved it. It was my dream job. But at the same time I started working in the automotive industry, it was the same time that I met my partner, Kyle. And then we kind of developed this like I said, hobby, passion project, and getting the materials, bringing it into our garage, working on it.
It's addicting, isn't it? I mean, listen,
it's addicting.
It's addicting.
It made me leave my cushy, very comfortable lifestyle at GM.
Well, I think also too, the style of work that you do is like, it's very, because like I remember walking around the showroom and I was like, oh, you basically deconstruct pieces and like rebuild them up in a new vision. And it's like, and it is kind of incredible the way, like you'll take bits and pieces and it's like, it's art. And And is that how it originally started? Was you kind of like remixing, or was it just refinishing at first?
It was a lot of refinishing, I want to say. And me and Kyle were just joking, and where I kind of wish it was the other way around first. I would say that me and Kyle are artists before woodworkers.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. But yeah, it was definitely way more refinishing. Like I said, we were finding some like really wild pieces and just being like, oh, like all I have to do is really clean this up, and then it's like gold.
Yeah.
But now, I feel like being in the salvage design woodworking kind of like feel that we created, it just like it has opened our eyes to more material. So for instance, Kyle just came back from a salvage job where they had parquet flooring in one of the living rooms. He actually just like ripped up all the parquet because the house is coming down. So he was able to like cut the parquet flooring down to like the subfloor. So we have these big 4 by 8 foot sheets of parquet. We're going to make some furniture out of that, and it's going to be awesome. So I think it's one of the things is, we're not doing traditional woodworking because we're thinking so outside the box.
Oh yeah. And it's like, it's like mega sustainable, like mega sustainable. It's like, it's like you're truly diverting things from the dump. Truly. Like, that's amazing. What's been some of the challenges in, since you started, like challenges that you've overcome?
I mean, unfortunately, I feel like some challenges you'll never overcome. I mean, I think right now, our biggest challenging is like staffing. I feel like with the pandemic, that has been a really big blow for us.
How big is your team now?
Oh God, well, I just lost one of my team members, to like a larger, woodworking manufacturer. That's our biggest thing. Well, we can't compete with those guys when it comes to benefits, payroll, etc. There used to be like 15 of us at one point, which is wild. Now we're down to 6.
Okay.
Now we're down to 6. So yeah, if you're looking to work at Woodward Throwbacks, we're hiring.
Yeah.
But no, sure that's honestly, that's honestly like one of the biggest challenges. But I think for us personally, I think it's like we need to be more like tunnel vision, where it's like, all right, we just got in X, Y, and Z material. Let's focus on designing, executing, and then sending it out to the world. I think sometimes we get too much salvage job opportunities where we're just like, all right, Monday we're going here, Wednesday we're going here, and then the production stops because we need all hands on deck. So that is also.
We could talk about that after, but one thing that I thought of was, are you getting paid to salvage too?
No. Yeah. Yeah, it really depends. I've had a couple opportunities where someone's just like, oh, like they wanted the material for themselves, but it's just like the figures really don't add up. And I think especially when it comes to selling architectural salvage and like lumber, if you have a business that's selling like said structural lumber and you're killing it, good for you. But for us, we probably sold raw material for maybe about a year, and then the figures just didn't add up.
And you're like, oh no, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. You got to hold on to it longer and make something out of it to truly benefit, right?
Yeah, most definitely. And also it's just like kind of going back to the tunnel vision, where I felt like we were just always doing this, where we're bringing this material in, it takes our shop away from actually things that are important, like being in the shop. And then it's just like, how much am I going to sell it for?
And I guess if you ended up doing like salvage jobs where you got paid for it, then you probably couldn't be picky with what kind of jobs. You'd probably get like really crap jobs too, right?
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I want to get some like really awesome material. I got to be, because the end goal is that, like I said, we're artists. We want to be able to create really amazing furniture with it. So you gotta be selective.
So you said finding good team has been hard. Talk about the sort of because you're not only like selling killer furniture, you got this brand, this furniture brand, and but you started getting into like influencer type things, right? So like you have a relationship with Carhartt, right?
So the Carhartt, it's funny that also happened really organically where I had a friend who worked at Carhartt and they were doing a shoot and just was like, oh yeah, you should check out Bo and like her business. And this was back in like 2014, 15. So this is like when we first started. And so we did a photo shoot and, you know, a lot of people don't know, but Carhartt is from Detroit. I mean, like, I know they just started really like repping Detroit heavy, but I pretty much
they are
just
Detroit.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, because Detroit hasn't had like the best like light up reputation. But yeah, so just being in the city and then like them like knowing my brand and so yeah, it just started from one photo shoot and then working with them through various projects. They're like, yeah, we want you to be a brand ambassador.
So cool. But and then you make stuff for them too, right?
Yeah, we did a really big job building out their headquarters in Dearborn. So I think we made like 47 tables. Wow. Which was wild, and a couple
all reclaimed, all your style,
all salvage materials. But my favorite project that we did with Carhartt was their it's called the Carhartt Workshop, which it's like a tool rental. And if you live in the city of Detroit, you get to take out tools for 2 weeks for free.
Wow.
For free. Which is so amazing. And I think also it's a really big move for them too, because it's like they're giving back to the city. And I feel like that's so important. So yeah, kudos to you.
That's Carhartt. So what's this year looking like for you?
This year, oh God, there's a lot going on. Some things I probably shouldn't say, but when it comes to our furniture line, we got a lot of amazing things coming up. I mean, I already teased out the parquet flooring. There's going to be a parquet furniture line coming out soon. So definitely be on the look for that. We're renovating a house that I'm really hoping we can finish. That's going to be made of all salvage materials. So
this is your house, right?
Yeah, this is, and I've been trying to like kind of show the process, but you know, with a pandemic, it's kind of like slowed us down a little bit. But just to give an example for people who haven't been following us, we had salvaged a school and got 140 4x4 sheets of like the slate chalkboard. And I actually cut them and bought a tile saw and I cut them into like 8x8 squares and I'm using it for the floors in the shower, in the bathroom. So it's just really, you know, transforming materials that had a previous life and putting it into this wild project. So
that's incredible.
Yeah, I'm a little crazy.
Is this the Catholic school that the one that you got all those chairs from?
I've done so many schools.
Yeah. Because we bought a bunch of chairs from you guys, and my wife is refinishing them, and they look kind of amazing. It looks like, I mean, they're old chairs, but it looks super modern. Which is kind of crazy that when you refinish something that looks old, how different it looks, you know? And so,
well, I mean, I feel like our motto has always been reclaim doesn't need to look rustic. And I think the term rustic, you know, it's not a negative term, but I think when it comes to, you know, having more of like a polished and refined aesthetic, you can still achieve that using sustainable and, you know, raw materials. And I think that's what we're really trying to like broadcast the world is you can be sustainable, but it doesn't have to look rustic.
And I mean, because I come from my normal world is like, you know, you take a tree that would have been, you know, cut up into firewood, but there's not even that. There's like furniture in an alley that you could reuse, right? Like there's lots of stuff laying around that you can like, you know, rebuild, fix. And and that sort of stuff. So for the most part, like in terms of your business, is it lots of like private custom work, or like how much, because you also have the showroom too, right? And so
Yeah.
like how does most of and then you probably have like direct to consumer on your
Mhm.
website line, is that how it'll work?
Yeah, I want to say in the past 2 months, we have definitely shifted our priorities. So we used to do a ton of custom work. So our showroom was open on the weekends. You would come in, shop our selection of goods that were available, as well as the salvage that was in the warehouse. And then I would have like an intake form where I'll do custom work. But we've actually stopped doing custom because we really want to focus on these new collections. And then
Like your own line, right?
yeah,
Like your
our own line. And if you like, for instance, like we have like dining room tables that are made out of salvage wood. I mean, you can customize those in a sense of like color and size. But if you're like, oh, I want this like bookcase, it's like, nah, sorry. I
you
just
don't do
can't make
that.
I can't. But actually we had recently closed our showroom and we are just sticking to warehouse sales. So I know in the beginning of our conversation, you said that you came to our warehouse sale. Was it the summer or the winter blowout?
Summer, because it was
Okay.
nice out. Yeah. It was
Yeah,
nice.
the sales can get a little wild.
Yeah, we came on it was a weekend. And then we went to that diner down the street from you.
Okay,
Um,
Main Street,
which
yeah.
was like bumping. I was like, and it was like right when COVID was like, it was like that summer when, masks started coming off. You remember like last
Oh, you
summer,
guys
and
are wild.
yeah, I was like, man, but it was, no, it was a great, yeah, but it was pretty busy.
Yeah.
We had, but yeah, so you're only doing warehouse sales now.
Yeah, only doing warehouse sales, but I don't know if I can really release this now, but our showroom will be back open. Might not be in this location,
It might be
but
someplace
it
else.
might be somewhere else that's going to be more regular. And so, yeah, you just have to stay tuned. I would just, kind of stay up to date with our social media because that will be a really big announcement. And then, yeah, we're having another warehouse sale probably coming in the next couple of weeks. So I guess our
How much is your brand tied to Detroit?
Oh, 100%.
100%. Yeah.
100%.
You think there's enough sort of well, how much of your customer base is Michigan, Detroit versus everywhere else?
Ooh, see, that's a hard question because we do sell all over. I mean,
The US, right? You
yeah,
sell
all
all
over
over.
the US. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We actually just shipped, I think 6 or 7. One was a custom piece, but it made sense. Out to LA. So we're doing a lot of West Coast, a lot of East Coast. Which is great because
It's like a Detroit salvage furniture
yeah.
brand. Yeah.
And I feel like Detroit is it's so cool. I mean, everyone wants
Shinola could come in and do it, right? Like they
yeah,
kind of
why can I?
yeah, exactly, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's like the level that we want to be. And I think
Mhm.
that's what we're striving.
That's so cool. All right. So this is a part where I give you any marketing or business advice. And tell me, is there anything that's been keeping you up at night, or anything that has been sort of, something you need to think through or work through?
I mean, it's a lot. I feel like it's a hard question because I don't know anything about the whole SEO. And I did have some marketing support once upon a time. But yeah, I think it's more of like, I just need to be consistent. I think consistency is the biggest thing that I would need help in. Like even like Instagram and stuff, like, what are some of the tools that I should use to stay on track? Like I know there's like Planoly. Like, is there any tools that can help when it comes to like scheduling, templates?
Yeah, well, because you're busy, right? Like you're building. So one thing, so listen, I just interviewed a guy, and he's got a lumber company rustic lumber company in Nebraska, and he just hired a full-time content creator for him. And I was like, and I was like, that's interesting, because the only people that I know that do that are YouTubers, right? And I know one other guy, Canadian Woodworks, Paul. He had at one point, he had a full-time videographer. And so for me, I kind of think that, like, if you could find, because you're like, I mean, great brand, great personality, you do amazing work. Like, you actually I think you could be at the point where you have a third person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's something when you're holding the camera, but then there's another where you're kind of not taking away a staff member's time. Hey, could you video me? Or, like, you know what I mean? And where you have somebody that comes in maybe 2 times a week and is filming, and then you just do stories, and then they post all of the rest of the other stuff, or like film for like a chunk of time and then break it up into stories and reels and post, right? And like, but they just come in for like 4 hours, and you could probably find, I mean, go to your alma mater. Go to your alma. Have you reached out to them?
No, I haven't.
You should go to your alma mater.
Yeah.
And say, I'm looking for an intern. I will pay them a stipend or whatever, or give them a lump sum with credit, and like find, like, tell them, like, I want 5 reels, 5 posts, and, you know, and a bunch of, you can handle the stories, right? You just handle the stories. And then, yeah, and that's what they do. They shoot photo, they shoot video, but you batch it so that it's not all on you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because even like today, you know, poor Kyle's doing that salvage job, and I'm like, take the tripod, and, you know, instead of.
But he can't because his mind is on doing the job. It's not on. I mean, and that's the hardest part. Like I tell people, is like, you don't actually need to shoot, like, create content and post at the same time. But, like, I know it's hard because it's also context switching too, which is very hard. So, like, you're in build mode and then you got to go to computer mode. That is hard. I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me, right? But, like, because when you're in one track of mind, it's hard to switch. So that's what I would do. I would find and put out an ad. I mean, shoot, you have a very large audience.
I'm sure there's someone that wants to hang out with me for the day.
Post the story today. It's like, we're looking for a content creator to work 1 or 2 days a week.
Yeah.
Please share this. And if you know anybody, we'll give you a piece of furniture. You'll get $100 gift card for our next warehouse sale. Like, boom. That's it.
Not a bad look.
You know what I mean? Like, that's like probably the easiest thing that you could do. Cause I mean, listen, this guy in Nebraska, he's a pretty savvy business person, but, like, he made an investment on a full-time video creator. Like, imagine how much you built already with your brand by yourself. Imagine if you had help.
Oh yeah. Yeah, right? Most definitely. Yeah. I mean, if you put in context, like right now, like, I'm here sitting with you, and there is so much awesome things are being produced right now in the shop. And yeah, I'm the only one that makes the video. So
yeah, and you kind of need to unite. You kind of need to be in front of the camera, narrating, or you walking around, because there's like it's almost like a different type of flex. There's like the selfie style, but then the other style is like somebody recording you doing it. It's a different perspective that I think your audience would truly appreciate. I would so that's that. I think the other, do you sell merch?
I do. We need to get some new merch. Yeah, we need,
because I think maybe, I mean, is a bonus idea is to drop merch in limited batches to go along with your collections.
Ooh, that doesn't,
you know what I mean? So it's like a capsule. So it's like a capsule collection. So you have your merch, you have your your actual furniture, and you have like a hoodie, a t-shirt, a something that goes along with it. Like maybe it's a particular color palette, but then you could make sure that the stuff comes from like a Detroit sort of, cut and sew factory. Like make sure it's so Detroit, you know what I mean? Or you work with like a particular designer or an artist to do the graphic, right?
Yeah.
And I think like Woodward Throwbacks has like, it's like a killer brand. And
thank you.
I think you can kill it with merch.
Yeah.
And have it almost be like a lifestyle brand. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, we've always kind of said like, and that's why these new collections are our main priority, because I mean, I would love to be like Supreme, where it's just like this, I mean, when we first started making like our own furniture and not just refinishing, I would like show the process, like this is 1 of 1, or this is, 1 of 5. And like, we would sell out. So there's something about like that, like exclusive, like there was only 1 of these, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, and that's the thing, is like, if you are able to do 1 of a kind pieces and then 1 of a kind merch to go along with it, the people that missed out or they couldn't afford it, but really love the lifestyle of Woodward Throwbacks, like, I think you could play a lot with, your mission, vision, values around that as well. So anyway, is that helpful?
No, that's super helpful. I know.
Cool.
It's really, I think it's like actually doing it. I think that's the hardest thing with any business is being like, all right, you can get as much advice as possible, but it's actually taking that first step.
Yeah. But listen, I would take action on getting a videographer, content creator. Like that's an easy thing.
Yeah.
Do that today.
I will.
Listen, you do it today. You post a screenshot. I'll probably post. I'll buy you a cup of coffee. I'll probably
post that we're looking for a woodworker first, and then afterwards.
That's a great post, right? Like, we're hiring.
Yeah.
We need a videographer. We need a woodworker. We need a woodworker. We need a content creator. So, cool. Well, so tell everybody your website and your Instagram.
Yeah. So Instagram, Woodward Throwbacks. And then our website is www.woodwardthrowbacks.com. Check it out. We are trying to drop new furniture bi-weekly, but Instagram is where you'll finally get the first scoop of what's new.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Bo, for your time. I'm excited to get your story up.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to the Woodpreneur podcast, the #1 podcast for the business and marketing side of the lumber, woodworking, hardwood, flooring, and sawmill industry. If you like what you heard, please give us a 5-star rating and review. You can also tap into our community by visiting woodpreneurlife.com. Once again, that's woodpreneurlife.com.